Hello everyone and welcome to a new video on the channel. Today we're diving back into the 2026 reading journal setup with the Book Shelfie, and I'm going to be honest, this was not how I expected the page to turn out, but I'm so glad that it did. And also I overthought this so much that the process for this was almost unenjoyable. I'll have to be honest with you all. This is a page that for the last 2 years in my reading journal, whilst it's a staple every year and I love the idea of not losing those staple pages, it hasn't served me as well. And I came up with the idea that if I could not get this Book Shelfie to work, then I was scrapping a Book Shelfie in 2027 because I was tired of just the plain, very beige looking book shelfies that I've been doing over the last 2 years. So there was a little bit of pressure behind it as well to sort of not necessarily perform, but to get this page to work. And it took a lot of effort. I really struggled with the setup for this. Now that was down to partially not being in the right headspace for the day that I sat down and did this, but I came at it in such a mood that I think it was kind of good for me in the sense of I had been overthinking this for almost 2 weeks and sort of putting it off because I was convinced I couldn't get it to work the way I wanted it to. And spoiler alert, I didn't. I just had sort of psyched myself out so much that being in that mood and coming in with, excuse my French, but being in like, you're just bloody well going to do it kind of mood was good for me. So if you're new to setting up a journal, a Book Shelfie is a place to simply put the books that you've read on display. Normally it's just a row of rectangles that are deemed the spine of the book, and you just mark down in whatever way suits you. Some people do star ratings, some people do genres, and when the book is read, you colour it in with that colour that coordinates to whatever you've chosen, and then you've marked down that book as being read for the year. It's a really cool visual and I like the concept of it, but like I mentioned, it just hasn't been going well for me in the last few years, simply because I just scrapped all the decoration on them because I can't draw to save myself. So I definitely leaned into stickers for this year, which I'm really happy I did in the end. However, there is some drawing in this and it gets completely scrapped. So I kept that footage in to show that even when an idea doesn't work out, you can still try and work your way through it. So you would have seen just before a little hand up in the corner of the screen. And then obviously that bowl just appeared out of nowhere. My sister was very kindly helping me bring stuff to the desk while I was setting this up. She knew that I needed to sort of focus on this and was very kind enough to bring me a couple of things. And I'd had such a terrible day that she was kind of hovering around to make sure that I was all right, which was really kind of a blesser. You may also notice that I have a wrist brace on, and that did come with the bad day. I did take a tumble at one point during the day out at the horses, and not off a horse, just fell over a fence while I was on the phone. So that wasn't ideal. And I braced because I was holding my phone in my right hand. I braced with my left hand, and you may or may not know, but my left hand already has quite a lot of damage in it. So it wasn't ideal, and I just needed a little bit of support. So here is my idea. You've been watching me do a little bit already, but basically the original idea was I wanted to have 2 bookshelves on the 2-page spread. Then I wanted to take a page from the back of the journal and add it in as a tip-in, having a 3rd bookshelf on it. And then behind it, on the back of the tip-in, I wanted to have like this cozy nook area where I had like a reading chair and just represented that I was reading behind here. Like the books that I read on that shelf were read in this chair. That was the kind of vibe that I was going for. But then to add on top of that, I also wanted to use the decorative paper that I've been using in this 2026 setup from Park Lane. It's the Dreamland pack. I wanted to use that as wallpaper, and then I wanted to put my color key on like a 2026 wall calendar type vibe on top of that. So that was my goal. Now, some of those things stayed and some of those things did not stay. As you can see, I'm now setting up the third bookshelf on the tip-in, and I only show the line work for this and then the colouring in for this, and then the others on the actual book, I just scrap that footage because it's exactly the same for all three. However, I do make some mistakes on this tip-in. We'll get to that when it starts happening, but overall, all three of them are the same, and I'm really happy with the shapes of the bookshelves and the colour that I chose, and all the things that I use will be in the description as always below. So I also decided to put my header for the Book Shelfie in the middle, and what I wanted to do was sort of nestle it on a cushion, and so that's what I've done there. We'll see that being done next. But first, let's colour in this bookshelf. So I knew that I wanted to go kind of messily with the colouring of it, just because then it gives that natural grain look to it without having to be precise about it. Now, I did knock my overhead camera rig, so even more of my head was showing more than necessary when I was setting this up. I have got it zoomed out a bit as well when I was filming this, just simply because I am going to be using this footage to make a reel, and if I have it zoomed in too close, then I can't get all the footage into the shot because I have to make it vertical. So that's the unfortunate side of that. I have zoomed in portions for you and taken out the most obnoxious parts of my head showing, but if you've been around for a while, this is not uncommon, and I'm pretty sure you guys are seeing more of the top of my head than anyone else in the world, so that is just how it works. So now that the shelves are all coloured in, let's work on the header. And I used one of the two Mildliner colours for the header. This is the pinker colour from the new Mildliner set. I cannot remember what it's called. It will be in the description. But these two colours come from that pack, and I really like both of them. And I used the purple one for the header on the reading mosaic, so I decided that I would alternate between the two of them. So this one got the pink one, and I did use the purple for the cushion, just because I'm going to keep the theme as mostly cohesive as I can. So I decided to utilize a lot of purples in this setup, though there is actually quite a lot of green when we look back at it, because the stickers that I used had a lot of green accents. So once that the header is done, I am going to now focus on the last portion of this middle section, which is this really pretty holographic window. It's like a stained glass window. And I really have been wanting to use these stickers for the longest time and not really knowing where to put them. I think I've used one, and I knew that I wanted to utilize it here in the middle of the bookshelves. It doesn't quite match, I know that, but when the other stickers are on the page, it kind of works because they also have gilded portions to them. So it kind of matches in with the holographic a little bit. So once this portion is done, I'm then going to colour in the header one last time with a little bit of sparkle, because that's what I did on the reading mosaic header, and I figure it's best to keep that cohesive right through, as well as outline this little cushion here just for a little bit more interest. And then we will move on to the portion of footage that I intended to make work but doesn't work in the end, and therefore there's a lot of time and energy went into setting this up, and it ended up not working out. So we'll get into that now. So first off, I am going to cut off the excess. I wanted the bookshelves to line up, so when the tip-in was laying flat, it just looked like it was the second bookshelf. However, I do make a mistake now in the fact that I remove this outer edge as well. I'm not sure what possessed me to do it, because I ideally could have used double-sided tape and then stuck it down with that, but clearly I was not thinking, and now I've had to annoyingly use some white washi tape to sort of stick it down, I have been toying with the idea of going back through and using clear instead, like clear sticker tape, sellotape, because I think it would look better. And it's not going to be the end of the world if it's shiny on the edge there, because there's a lot of shiny stuff on the page. So that may be something that I will change. So I don't think the washi tape's going to be necessarily strong enough, but we'll see. So here it is. It's just going down now. It's not the worst thing. It's not the greatest thing either, to be honest. So I did try to go over the washi tape with the Bookshelf pen color, which is 47 out of the Ohuhu markers, if you are wondering. And yeah, it does nothing, as you can see. Just, yeah. So here we are. I took out the footage of me colouring this all in. I even made the book, Emily Wilde's book number 2, the map of other worlds, because that's my favourite in the series. I thought that was so clever of me, and now it's hidden forever. You'll never see it again apart from in this video. So as I mentioned at the start of this video, I had that really big idea, and unfortunately for me, I can't draw, so I can't make this look realistic enough, even though I traced it from another picture. And using the decorative paper up against that cartoony looking seated chair meant that it started to look really jarring. Like it was very obvious that it was hand drawn, and it did not match. So I really wanted to utilize the paper from the cover page that I had left over, that really pretty flower and butterfly type paper that you can see on the screen now. And you can see that I'm thinking this is not working, and it doesn't. So I try a different piece of paper. I figure this one that's got holographic lines in it will match really well with the window, and it's very plain, so that should surely work. And cut it out as well, and go to the effort of getting it to the size. And again, it's better, but it's not going to work. It just is too much of a contrast. So my third option was then to, well, there was 2 options. One, to cover the whole page, and at this point I was like, no, I've coloured this in. I want this here. And then my other option was to colour in the wallpaper with pen. Now, there's a reason why I did not want to do this, and that was what happens when you use pen. There are marks left behind. There's the streak lines, and this just ruined it completely. So I do end up covering it up, and the 4th attempt on this is much better. And I'm so glad that it ended up being, even though I spent all this time, I'm so glad that it ended up being this way, because how it ends up is so good. And I'm like, why was I even overthinking it? Also, these are styles that I've tried in the past, like with the chair, drawing it myself. And whilst I've been like, oh, that's not too bad, overall, it's just, you know, like it just isn't me anymore. And especially with this specific 2026 look, I wanted to lean more into the paper pads. I wanted to lean more into stickers and stuff as opposed to drawing. I know I can't draw, so, you know, and I'm so glad I ended up using this butterfly paper. It is so pretty, and it just works really well next to the brown shelves. It's very bold, but it's not overpowering. And in the end, I'm just so thrilled that I got so frustrated that I went, fine, I'm covering it. Because look at how much better that looks. It's so much better once I get the bubble of air out, of course. So now that crisis has been averted, I do end up coming in and making the calendar now for the wall. It's not a calendar anymore. I just made it into a key. It sort of kind of is still shaped like it a little bit though. So I'm just going to do 4 rows of 3. And I always get columns and rows mixed up. You'll see what I mean in a minute. And then I'm going to leave them blank because I have yet to come in with my colour palette for 2026. And I did this last year as well with 2025. I set everything up and then I came in at the end and went, right, these are my colours that I'm going to use. And I think I'm going to leave it like that until then as well. because I just really don't know what I want for my color choices for next year just yet. Do I want to go different hues of purples and pinks to match in with this initial setup, or will I want some different colors? Probably, because I don't want everything to be the same. We'll see. But I did flip back to the reading mosaic just to make sure that I was using the right color pen, because I would hate to use a brown pen when I use black on the last page. So thankfully it was brown, and I went through and marked in all the 12 boxes with my Pitt artist pen. And then, as I mentioned, I'm going to leave them blank, but I do use an Ohuhu marker to put in a key header. So I just put 2026 at the top and was going to leave it at that. But then I thought, oh, it looks a bit bare at the bottom. So I put key. Ideally, I wish I'd put 2026 key at the top together, but I'm happy enough with how it looks. I do need to come in and use a white gel pen on this page on one of the boxes. I've just gone over the edge a little bit. That's nothing much. I can fix that quite easily. And then the only other thing I need to do is stick this in. And I actually end up leaving it to the very last part of the setup. I was meant to fill it in and then put it on the tip in at this point. We're actually going to put some washi tape down as well, but I ended up having to go cook dinner as well and came back and was like, right, the shelves. So I completely forgot that I was in the process of sticking this in. As you can see, I felt like it needed more at this point, so that's why I come back and put key down the bottom. And yeah, the washi tape that I'm using is by Uniti. It's a very, very, very old washi tape. I've had it probably since I started journaling, which was 2017, and I'm absolutely obsessed with it. I barely use it now because there's such a little amount left on the roll, and I was very hesitant, but it really brought this page together. So with a little time jump, because I did want to test out what shape I wanted my books to be for this year on the Book Shelfie, I have gone and grabbed some supplies out. I found these sticker packs that I've been saving, and also grabbed out some stamps that I thought would be interesting. Unfortunately, I don't use the stamps. I had every intention to, but when I looked at the sticker size and then the stamps, the ratio was really off. I do use one stamp, which is now, it's just this little rectangle box that I turn into a planter. It is the one thing and only thing that I color in on this Book Shelfie. The rest is all stickers. And yeah, I wanted to use like the camera that I found, but the ratio size of the camera versus the tiny little cat, you'll get to see that in a moment, it just was off. So I decided that I would just stick with the stickers. And unfortunately, I didn't even use one of the packs that was right there in front of me, which is kind of interesting that I didn't even bother to open it up and use it. There were a couple of stickers in there that I could have used, but never mind. I'm really happy with how it comes together. So as I mentioned, I made this rectangular box because I wanted to make it into a planter. And when it's got enough stickers over top of it, I don't hate it. So like I said, it's the only thing I did color in. And after drawing the chair and then that, I was like, right, that's it. I'm done. I'm absolutely done with trying to do anything that's inside my head. I'm just going to use all the stickers I can. So I'm happy enough with how that came together, thankfully, with all the layering of those stickers. And then speaking of stickers, let's go with all these really cool stickers I have from these packs here that I got from Mizo no Uto, which is a New Zealand Japanese stationery store. So I do end up not using one of these stickers, this one right here. This little sticker went on such an adventure. We also had randomly a storm on the night that I was filming this. It was such a weird day. Like everything went wrong, and then there's a storm, and suddenly while I was filming there's this massive smash. So I had that sticker on my finger and went outside to see what was going on. It went on such an adventure, and then it ended back up on the sticker pad because I just couldn't find a place that I really liked it in, so it didn't get to stay. I also used 3 stickers that end up getting removed. This one here, the candelabra, and then only 2 get removed. Also the terranium that I grabbed right then. And then there's also a witch's hat that I don't show you the process of putting onto the bookshelf. I found, again, the size difference, and they also didn't have like the gilded edges on them like the rest of the stickers did. So I felt like they did not match in enough and they got removed, except for the 𝓬𝓽𝓮 because it was too stuck down. And so I tried to remove it. You'll see that later on in footage. And then it ripped the page, so it got to stay. But I went through, see it sitting on my finger right there. Anyway, I went through quite a few different layouts and tried different ways to put the books out. I initially counted them and did not have enough, so I then had to remove those stickers as well to have a bit more space for books, because the intention isn't decoration, it is to have enough space to jot down the books that I've read. So that is what I'm now trying to figure out with the decoration that's on the page and how I want things to lay. And yeah, it was really fun because I don't normally rely on stickers, and these ones you have to cut out individually. It's like one big sheet. So yeah, it was really like quite relaxing at this point, and just trying to fill in all the little gaps. I decided not to color in my background of my bookshelves. I have a wonderful friend called Amy, Amy's Reading Journal over on Instagram, and she actually was setting up, or had just finished setting up, her Book Shelfie on the day that I started, and she mentioned to me that she had the same issue with colouring in the background of her bookshelves, that the pen marks really bothered her, so she used washi tape over top of that to hide the lines, and I thought that was fantastic, but I didn't want to take her idea, so I've left the background white for the first time in forever. I normally colour in the backs of my bookshelf. Here you can see me trying to rip it out and realising it is stuck. So I just went with what I've got, and through the magic of editing, you will notice that you only get to see this one shelf being lined out. This took probably the longest once all the books had been chosen for where they were going to go, having to individually ink them in, but I'm really happy with how it all ends up looking. And I haven't counted how many book spaces I have now, but I do need your help because I have two ideas. One is that I number the books in order, and one is to just random the numbers everywhere because I'm using monthly colors. So it would either be 12 different book rainbow colors in order or all over the place. So please, in the comments below, let me know what you would choose, if you would choose to have the colors all sprinkled out or all in a row. I'm torn. I like the idea of both of them. I like the uniform nature of having them all together for the month, but equally I think it would be really fun like trying to find the number that will keep the interest alive a little bit. So yeah, let me know what you think in the comment section below. But we're almost done now, just moving some stickers around, and we're going to add in the key in a moment as well. But I'm really happy with how this turned out. And I think that the process was worth it, even though I didn't think so at the time. I was definitely like, wow, this took a really long time for something that looks like this. But equally, I'm really happy with how it looks. And it definitely has stayed on theme with the rest of the journal, which really is important to me. So with that, I am now going to stick in the key, and we're going to end it here. So thank you so much for spending some time with me today. And until we next meet, I hope you have fun reading or journaling, and I'll see you in another video very, very soon. And don't forget to comment below which number order I should do. Bye everyone.